5 miles, Angel 6.
Roger, that's the only one I've got right there where the pointer is.
Yesterday's big 2023 and beyond video from Eagle Dynamics marked the usual excitement from the community as the new year for DCS development sauntered in with the usual panache we now expect from them. Delicious visuals splattered with modules we're expecting, maps we want, and all important teaser shots of new and upcoming aircraft. There was no disappointment in this video, which was absolutely amazing and showcased lots of new material and of course some old favorites. Let's take a look at what we learned and what we can expect sometime in the future. What does it all really mean? Well, what we learned and know firstly is that the video began with the caveat that the images recorded were taken from scenes using NVIDIA's DLSS and multithreading technology. Deep Learning Supersampling, DLSS is what that stands for, takes advantage of RTX GPUs from NVIDIA, boosting performance using upscaling technologies to increase frame rates while still keeping a high degree of eye candy. Well, that's the plain dude's guide anyway. Now, we have talked about multi-threading in the past, and this signals that ED is quite far along now in the implementation of this core engine enhancement, which we've all been waiting for many, many years. Several weeks ago, they discussed in some detail their efforts and progress in upgrading the core engine to better integrate the old software with modern CPU and GPU hardware to essentially unlock better performance. At this juncture, I don't see any benefit in mere hype, as the progress has been years in the making, like I said, and the community is baying for blood when it comes to core improvements. In other words, it's not far away. It's no coincidence either that we also saw news on the dynamic campaign in late December, which I think goes hand in hand with the multi-threading improvements which will be needed to run all those assets. The team also advised that they have some pretty trick math to manage assets even still to prevent your CPU from taking a dump or running like a chloroform snail. See my previous video on that particular topic. Modules. We saw plenty of shots of modules touted for 2022 release in the guise of the Phantom and the F-15E, which were both delayed for this year, 2023. The Strike Eagle we have seen plenty of in recent months as Razbam ramped up their efforts to release it in 2022, but alas, it didn't quite pass muster in time for approval from Eagle Dynamics, and further tweaks are needed. Nonetheless, it looked pretty impressive and was carrying the massive array of weapons we can expect. It's one of the huge benefits of the huge airframe of the aircraft is that it can carry a lot of weapons and asymmetric loadouts without much complaint, similar to the big Tomcat. An actual release date, of course, hasn't been announced for pre-order just yet, so we'll have to wait and see where it sits as the weeks plow on into 2023. The Phantom was a huge fan favorite, and it was thrilling to see it in-game with those in-game shots, which looked absolutely fantastic, and is the first official in-game footage we've seen thus far of this Cold War era jet. Looks alone, of course, bear no resemblance to what we can expect from the final product and its completion, which has an extra layer of complexity with the backseat navigator radar operator to implement as well. We saw a range of weapon loadouts which looked promising, but the proof will be in the pudding when it comes to early access dates which have not been signaled from Heatblur just yet. Among the many other aircraft showcased, we saw snippets of the C-130, which is now a work-in-progress full-fidelity module. It was fantastic to see the F-16 nosing up to the open rear cargo door, something which has become a photo-op standard in a lot of YouTube videos in recent years, especially out of Europe. The eagle-eyed among you noted that the support strut for the rear door was out of place, so the team will need to rectify that, and I understand today that has in fact occurred. Of course, the rivet counters will be looking, and we'll cut them to little pieces one of these days, if it's not. Overall, though, I felt like an earthbound misfit looking at all of these amazing shots of this massive hauler with room for multiplayer slots, which has become an increasingly popular option among the player base these days. In addition to these snippets, we saw the LA-7, which is due for release at the beginning of 2023, apparently, according to the October newsletter from last year. The B-1 Lancer, which is an AI model, a remodeled Viking S3 AI as well, which looks absolutely amazing. And of course, we had the reenactment of the B-52 below deck level flyby of the carrier, and the B-52, which is also an AI. Its exterior has also been updated. We saw the A4 Skyhawk, which is not going to be an official module, according to Big Newy, apparently, but there were more units for World War II assets and some more modern ones like the Leopard 2 tank, which also looked awesome. We saw some snippets of the Marianas World War II version, and there were therefore tons and tons of shots of the F4U in action, which was really exciting to see, and another huge fan favorite among the community that is being made by Magnitude 3, also known as Leatherneck Simulations, if you want to check more information from them on their Facebook page. Now, we saw a very, very brief snippet of the Kiowa, so no news there in terms of where it's at. We've seen some interesting videos recently on walkarounds for that particular aircraft on YouTube, but we are a little bit in the dark as to when that's going to be released. We saw some footage of the Tomcats over city lights at altitude. Some speculated this might be the D variant, but that is very unlikely due to the sophisticated electronic suite, which is still under wraps, I understand, to this day. And there were various other aircraft ranging from the Viggen to the F1 all getting showcased in this amazing video. Well, let's turn to what's coming. And there was no subtle hint at yet. Another helicopter. It was in your face, and it's coming to the game soon in the form of the Chinook, the CH-47 variant, which was quite a surprise in many, many ways. Remember that ED in the past has shied away from aircraft which perform primarily transport roles or hauling roles as something more suited to other platforms, but the growing capability of multiplayer modules like the F-14, Apache, and third-party modules like the SK-60 and the Goshawk before it, in conjunction with the growing player base that DCS World has reversed this stance, which is pretty cool. With more players looking for combat roles that are logistical in nature, ED has broadened its vision for the future of the game, which is continuing to evolve thanks to the community demand, interest, and, as said, the growing player base, and it's really exciting stuff. As for the CH-47, the interior and exterior shots looked amazing, but like the Phantom, we'll need to see more before we can assess the level of completion and guess at any implementation dates. One thing ED has done after lessons from other modules is that they are waiting much longer before making announcements about the injection of a full fidelity module in the game, similar to what we saw with the Apache, which experienced some minor delays into 2022 after a Q4 release date predicted in 2021, which didn't happen. Similarly, we saw this with the Hind, which launched without much drama and has become a popular module in an era rival to the Apache and is also a delight to fly. Now, I expect the Chinook to be much more complex to manage with the dual rotors and engines for each, but it bodes well for the direction in which ED is branching out into and a testament to the progress being made to the core engine and what it can support. And that's exciting stuff. Again, the Chinook is going to be quite a thing to manage with those rotor systems, and we'll have some interesting quirks. No doubt we'll see a flurry of former Chinook pilots, possibly even some current ones, taking us through some tours of how to get the best out of that particular aircraft. So stay tuned as the weeks and months roll on for more information. Again, I'm very, very excited about this particular aircraft. Again, it hints at so many things and so much cool stuff coming to the game. Now, there are several third-party modules still bubbling away in the background, such as the MiG-23, the BO-105, and an overhaul of the MiG-21, which is planned by Magnitude 3. So just a few named there. There are many others. So keep checking back for more info on those projects, which we did not see any hints on. And lastly, of course, we had the big teaser for what appeared to be a World War II era aircraft, and that was the Hellcat. Some blurry, grainy footage similar to combat footage of the era, hinting at just the shape of the aircraft. Certainly that's what everyone is guessing. No news on who is producing it. I don't know if it's an ED model or if it's going to be a third-party module. We'll have to wait and see on that. And again, no hints at release dates or anything like that. So once more, stay tuned for more information once it comes to hand. In the interim, thanks for tuning in and for all the support recently. Don't forget to like and subscribe as we chase the magic 10,000 subscribers mark for the channel. And don't forget to throw in a comment below about what you enjoyed in yesterday's amazing video from the ED team. Let me know what you think. And if I missed something that you want to talk about, there was so much to unpack in it. Again, thanks for tuning in. throw a comment in below, and we'll see you next time on the DCS Sit Rep. This is Prickly Hedgehog out. Cheers.